Can it be said that every good play has a message, has a theme?
It's about something.
Yeah, doesn't have to be like, the kind of message where it's sort of this is what you should do.
Well, it's to give you an experience of life in a way that you are alerted to certain realities that generally on the day-to-day basis people forget or don't deal with. All art is supposed to reveal truth, to remind the human being what it is that the human experience is, so that they can readjust their behavior from time to time.
What it is or what it should be, right?
Well, again, in actuality, there's only is or is not. Reality means something exists, and things which are unreal aren't other things which exist which are unreal. No, they're things which do not exist. So, for instance, when we think it's important to argue with our mother as a child, whether we finish our dinner or not, it seems very important at that moment. And it seems important for the mother that this child, for their nutrition, must finish their meal tonight. And also, they need to learn behavior which is proper in relation to the authority, so that when the authority tells them, then they do it. Both of those people are full of shit. Whether that person eats or not that night is not important, because they'll eat the next night. They ate the night before. So that's the kind of thing that he's saying in our town. Don't get involved in that kind of stuff. So the play or an art object shows you what is real in that moment. And that is, some other thing is more important to the kid at that moment. It's not a horror that's true. And if both people live that moment truthfully and fully, the person will say, actually, you just don't want to eat because you really want to go do something else, right? Yeah, I'm dying. Everybody's playing baseball and they probably started already. Well, I can see that's important to you, so go on and do it. But you know you're supposed to eat your food all the time, don't you? Yeah, I do. All right, go ahead and play. That would be a real moment. That would be somebody aware of life. The parent would be, I'm aware now of what life is, what the experience is, what it is to the child at that moment to be excited to go do something. Let them be excited and go do it. They're going to be full of a life where they have to do shit they hate. Let them have that moment of exciting enjoyment. That's what the author would want you to do. Mm-hmm. But he's not going to tell you that in a lecture, because you're not going to do it. But if you experience that moment, the next time you have that kind of a moment as a parent, you think twice.
That's right.
A director has to be able to look at life and know how people behave, and then recognize that behavior, which has been encrypted into a play, and decrypt that. So that's what script analysis really is.
Oh, I meant to ask you, when do you meet with your designers after casting?
No, it can be any time. The costumers know, because they don't know who's going to do it.
But I suppose you could have a preliminary meeting with the costume designer talking about the look of it, right?
Yeah. What we want.
So at any point, you can meet with your set designer, costume designer, lighting designer. Does it matter who you meet with first?
Those are all production meetings. I don't think it does, no. First thing you do, somebody's interested, first thing you tell them, don't have even a meeting, read the play. Read the play from top to bottom, so that when you come back, I'll ask you questions, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's what they have to do before they even do anything.
Seems reasonable.
I can't tell you. Well, the lighting designer will say, well, you just tell me where you want the light. No. They have to read the play because they cannot make any decisions that they're supposed to make. I never let anybody do any of that stuff for me. I did it all myself.
What? All the designs?
Yeah, except for costumes.
And why was that? Because that was, in other words, you would be the lighting designer, the set designer, and the sound designer for all the shows?
Yeah, I designed and built 39 of the sets of the 40 shows we did.
And there was one that you didn't?
Well, Carpenter, he wanted to design something, so I let him do it.
And why not costumes? Is that because it wasn't...
First place, I didn't know that much about costumes. And secondly, it would have been way too much to do because the costumer...
That's a lot of work.
...has to...
measure people.
Doing all that kind of crap.
But you knew what you wanted in terms of the costumes so that you would have meetings with a designer and you would have a meeting, let's say, with a costume designer and you wouldn't say, so what do you think? Or would you? No. You would say, okay, you've read the play.
And actually the best costume designer would say, well, I've got some ideas.
You would hear the ideas.
Yeah.
But immediately you would assess the idea in relation to the play analysis.
Again, this gets into something I want to deal with later.
Yeah.
But, before you start into rehearsal, it's good time. It's all preparation time.
Right.
And the longer you have to give these people time, the longer time they have, the better.
Right. So once you're done with your analysis and becoming that authority, you could start to branch off and do multiple things at once. You could begin the process of the casting.
Sure.
You could start meeting with the designers.
Which is where you go from there, obviously.
Because it's like a general starting to give out the...
Exactly.
You know how to, you know your strategy for the war.
Right. Now, if you don't really know, look how all of the decisions that you have to make can't be made appropriately.
Right. You'll be stumbling around in the dark.
Right. Lighting for a stage is not for illumination, in the sense that illumination means it be dark. So we put on lights so something isn't dark, we can see. It's not what it's for. That's a secondary benefit. You paint with lights. And what you paint on the stage with lights is mood. When you dress the stage, what do you put on it? You have something on it which shows you what the evening is going to be like. When we did Bell Book and Candle, the preset, when the audience came in, had a little pin light on a little mask on the wall, like an African wooden carved mask. One thing was just sitting like a little devil's figurine on the table, and the other thing was on the wall, just decor for the house. But there was other decor in the house. I didn't put lights on it. I wanted to see the magical elements. So when that comes in, nobody's going to say, oh, this is a magical play. So look, he put lights on the magical elements. No, they won't see that. They don't think. But yes, they do take it in. And when the magical things start happening, they're already primed for it. It's not something out of the clear blue. You use them for the play, not just because the play tells you he picks up a devil mask in Act 3, so you got to have it out there. People in rehearsal period use, what Lee used to say, Stanislavski called them, were etudes, studies.
In the rehearsal process?
Yeah, in the rehearsal process.
The etudes are little exercises that the director would give?
They're not playing the scene at all. They're doing things in the rehearsal that make the people get it, what they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. So the etudes are, in a sense, a little exercise that the director gives them to bring out the quality that is needed in the play, right?
Yeah. Get them to experience what it is between themselves that it's supposed to be in the play between the characters. One night, the whole cast, I had them bring whatever you're going to eat for dinner. And as you sit around the table, I just set up something on stage so that everybody would have a place to sit. We didn't have the set yet.
What was it, at a table? Or,
yeah.
Everybody was at the same table?
Well, we put 2 or 3 things together. But I told them all to sit around it.
And you said, bring your dinner that day. It's like,
right.
Yeah, so that you can actually eat it.
Right. And while you're doing that, I want you to talk about how you think the play's going. How you think the rehearsal period is going.
I love it. I love exercises like that.
So they came in and did that. That's all I had to do for them to know how to behave in the eating scenes. There are scenes in that where they're all around the table and they're talking about the various things. It was just so that now the people would know how to sit at the table and talk to each other. Because otherwise you're going to get at the table this. Well, we saw Sergeant so-and-so at the, whatever the lines are. That's his line. And the next person will say, what's my line now? Oh, yes, and you don't get a conversation at all. You get a bunch of actors saying their lines, and each one in their turn.
Right.
Doesn't have that sense of what it's like when people are sitting around talking.
So when you did that exercise...
It was to give them that sense.
When you said, talk about how you think the play is going.
Exactly.
And after
in other words, talk about something that you're all concerned with essentially equally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens around the table when the family is talking in the play. They're talking about the soldiers are all going to be garrisoned somewhere else now, and for somebody it's one character it's disappointing because he likes to go and talk to them all day long, and they tell him the stories of the military because he was too unhealthy to be in the military himself, although he wanted to be an officer or whatever else.
Right.
And then another one will be Masha will be concerned with there goes the person I love if he leaves. But they're all equally concerned with that topic. It's not people just sitting around the table, your line, my line, and now Rode and Fedotek, who are two little soldiers who come in, they're in this eating scene, they don't get to be in the whole rest of the play except for little pieces. Now they're getting to sit around the table and talk. They should look like they're just as much a part of that life as anybody else.
Sure, yeah.
Not to people who have small parts who, when their line comes, and say, "Oh, I will miss the soldiers very much." No, when I sat them around the table all together, now Rode and Fedotek are part of the evening.
Yeah, because they were just essentially themselves.
Because they're also in the play.
Right, they were just essentially themselves talking about the play, yeah. Right. And even in that etude or exercise, you didn't say to them, now, see, this is what I need at the dinner table.
You never tell them.
So at the most, you just said, okay. Yeah.
The thing that I did best...
What would you say to them? You would say, how would you sort of cap that exercise for them?
I would say something like, I don't remember what I said.
Yeah.
But I would say something, depending upon what they did, I would say something like, okay, in the play everybody's eating together, and so, I just wanted to see what the dynamic of all of you working off of each other would be like, or something else like that. And you have to have a sense you know what you're doing in relation to the play.
Right.
What's the name of the character who ends up running the house?
Oh, Natasha?
Yeah.
She marries Andre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I cast this girl who was short and a little feisty. That's already good because she spent her life being the short one.
Yeah, she's always trying to compensate.
And she's always never being paid attention to enough. But if she gets into a position of power, she'll make them.
Little Napoleon complex.
Exactly. And so she did have that. But we did a thing one night where I just told her, I want you, come in everybody else stand over there. I want you to tell everybody where they're supposed to be sitting. Now, she wasn't blocking a scene for me. I just wanted her to have the experience of being the one who's running the show.
You said tell everybody where to sit at the table.
Not at the table, or just around the room.
Oh, just around the room.
I said, if they're coming in and you don't want them just all standing against the wall, so direct them all where to sit. Because should Masha sit with Vershinin or not? Should they sit across the room from each other or what? Mm-hmm. If it was just a party you were having.
It wasn't even a scene.
No. Nothing about a scene.
Yeah.
But it gave her now that sense of telling everybody what to do. And so I never had to tell her, in this line, she's telling him what to do or anything else.
And did the etude essentially end once she told everyone where to sit?
I can't remember exactly what I told her. I told her several little things to do. It was only like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I said, because you always say, I'm going to do a little exercise now. And then you do the little exercise. But you do it to give her the experience of running the show. But you don't then say, see what it feels like to run the show? No. You say, no, I just wanted to have that to give you a sense of interaction with the people, some way that she doesn't know what I'm really after.
And the reason for not spelling it out is because if you spell it out, then they're just going to have that in their head.
And then they're going to try every time to tell everybody what to do. I'm the little Napoleon.
Then they'll end up acting it.
Yeah, exactly. With that sense that actors always
because
feel,
a person that...
If I have 50%, that's good.
Right.
But if I have about 200%, that's better.
Because a person that has to tell everybody what to do or is a control freak isn't thinking that they have to tell everybody what to do.
No. So
they're not aware of it on a conscious level.
Whenever you see the three sisters, what you see is three actresses playing the three sisters. They don't look like sisters. They don't look like not sisters. Mm-hmm. If somebody says, oh, you see those three? They're sisters. So, oh, are they? Oh, well, all right. I'll take your word for it. Not what it should be. When somebody says, yeah, and the three of them are sisters, you say, yeah, I knew it. I could tell. That's what it should be. Mm-hmm. Now, why? What's the difference between them? There's a shared reality in life that they both share and they know they share.
And that's the common experience of growing up together, living together?
Yes, right. You got a family, nuclear family. The mother can't have any more children. The parents want another child, so they adopt a new baby. Difficulty for the rest of the family. Here comes something into this unit who ain't a part of the unit. Now, over time, if that works successfully, that person gets pulled into the unit. But particularly for the children, that's a very difficult thing. Because you're bringing in somebody who ain't even us. Mm-hmm. That sense of family comes from shared experience and the recognition, not only the shared experience, but the recognition that it's shared experience, that we are, quote, a family. We are sisters. So I'm sitting there, and we've got three sisters. How am I going to make the three sisters? So I told all the men not to come to rehearsal until 9 o'clock. And when all the women were in there and sitting there, I said...
And not just the three sisters, but all of them.
All of the women, because it's true, by the way, what the three sisters have, all of the women of the family have a little less. But they also have it.
Did you invite Natasha?
Yeah, because for this particular
Even though
thing,
she's an outsider?
Yeah, but it's gonna have a different ramification for her. I had them all in there. They're sitting there. And I said, well, there's something I've wondered about. What is it that women know about men, that they think about men, that you talk to each other about men, that you'll never tell men? What is it? First, what do you think the first thing that happened was? When
they giggled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what was that? Why would they giggle or laugh? Recognition that, yeah, there is something. I worked for an hour trying to get them to tell me.
And probably nervousness, like, you expect us to tell you, you're a man.
Exactly. I worked for an hour to get it out of them. I said, look, I know I'm a man and so forth, but I'm not a man or a woman now. I'm just a director. And I'm speaking to you now in that relationship. I'm not going to run out and tell the other guys that you told me this. It will be only something that's a part of the exercise that we're doing. And, it'll be confidential. You don't have to worry. So tell me. They wouldn't tell me.
They would not tell.
They would never tell me. So I went through that whole hour and I said, well, okay, all right, maybe the exercise didn't work, so that's fine. But the men are now coming in, and so girls will all go out. So they knew that I would say something. I think even one of them said, what are you going to talk to them about? And so I'm not going to tell you, just the way I told you I wouldn't tell them what you were telling me. Although none of you would tell me anything.
Yeah.
And I let them see that was my response and so forth, and played with them about it and so forth. Now, what did that do? It gave them all a real commonality. Mm-hmm. That they were on, quote, a team. Mm-hmm. And their team was solidified.
Did you go in knowing that they wouldn't tell you, or you weren't sure?
I wasn't sure.
You weren't sure, yeah.
I would keep the exercise going in relation to that, even if they told me something. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't at all surprised that they wouldn't tell me.
Did you actually sit there for like an hour trying to get it out of them?
Well, I was talking to them about various things. And I said, well, what about men, how they behave, and their assumptions to you? Is there anything you can tell me about that? About their assumptions about women? And
they must have opened up about that.
Well, they would say little minor things. And I said, well, but I recognize that's not much of a secret. I mean, don't you think people know that? Oh, yeah, I guess they do. Well, what's the secret part that you want? I said, when you all go into the women's room and you're all giggling in there about, 4 women go on a date and you go into the women's room and you're all giggling about your dates. What are you giggling about? What's so funny? And again, they laugh, but they don't tell you. Mm-hmm. Well, this is what happened. We had 6 or 7 women who came in and said, and there were 6 or 7 actresses. We're people in the play, and the director's now doing something, and so we're going to do it because, we're not going to fight him on it. And, so we'll go in and do the little exercise. But there were 6 or 7 separate women. When they got up to leave, they were one family. On the way out, they were whispering things to each other and stuff like that. The exercise was over, but as they were going out. So now, the 3 sisters look like 3 sisters. And even the other women look like they were part of the 3 sisters.
Part of the community,
But part of the 3 sisters, not part of the men. Part of the 3 sisters. And how it worked for Anfisa was, now that emboldens her even more to get to tell everybody what to do. Because she's not really bossy to that extent, mean or anything to the women.
Are you talking about...
No, I said Anfisa, I mean Natasha.
Yeah.
I meant Natasha. She's not mean to the women. She just runs the show, and that threatens the authority figures of the time, which were the men. So it worked for her too, even though her behavior in the play is a little different from the other girls, because it doesn't cause her to go after the other women.
You were saying that in the play, Natasha threatens the other men?
Just by being the one who's telling everybody what to do. And that thing helped her in a different way. It helped her be that kind of thing who's going to tell everybody else, because she was one of the girls. She was just the one who gets to tell the men off. She wasn't just me by myself being a bitch telling everybody off. It made her one of somebody.